Hello everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Emily. I'm the registered dietitian here at Harvest Market, and I am back this week with yet another delicious recipe. So this week we are making soup. Finally, it's soup weather, it's chilly. That's the only thing I like to celebrate about this cold weather, is eating soup. So I have my super comfy cozy sweater on today. We're making a really comfy cozy soup. This is my chicken sausage, kale, and white bean soup. So a few of those things might not sound good to some folks, but I'm here to show you how those things like kale and beans can be really tasty when put in a soup. That's what I love about soups, is you can really put in a lot of stuff in soup and it kind of just all melds together. And if you have really good seasoning, really good flavoring, then you don't even really notice it's there. So here's what we're gonna be doing. I have my pot, my little soup pot here, preheating over medium. And I'm just gonna be doing a 2-person kit today. So this will be all 2-person. If you have a 4, it's gonna be double. And we'll go through all the ingredients when we get to them. But we're just gonna first start to work on chopping up the veggies. So we have our veggie bag here. This has all the good stuff. Ooh, hello. I got some garlic. We've got celery. We've got carrot. Kind of the basis for any good soup, in my opinion. And then we have the kale in here and also the lemon. We're gonna actually keep this in the bag, so we're gonna use this a little bit later on. So we're gonna take out these guys. The other thing we're gonna start with is an onion. So that is what we're gonna be getting going first in our pan. So we're just gonna kind of push everything off to the side. We have our oil here, and I'm gonna wait on that for just a second. And I'm just gonna cut into this guy. We're just gonna do a nice fine dice on the onion. With onion, I like to chop it up really nice and fine in a soup, because then when it's really all said and done, it just kind of like melts into the soup. So delicious. So I'm just gonna cut it to where I get a nice fine dice, couple horizontal slices, couple vertical, and then we're gonna come this way and get a beautiful, nice, fine dice on that onion. Excellent. Gonna add in the oil to our pot. And right in. So I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit because I want a little sizzle when the onion hits the pan. And this is really gonna lay a beautiful groundwork for our broth and our soup, is getting this aromatic onion starting to saute. It's gonna be so delicious. It's a very, very, very simple soup. I like soups that are simple so that I can later on kind of tweak it and make it my own. You know, you can certainly add more veggies to this. Again, this is just a base. This is a really good base recipe. Very simple. If you like mushrooms, if you want zucchini, throw it in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of let that saute a little bit. And woo, the onion is making my nose run and my eyes water a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and slice up the celery and the carrot as well. Just nice thin slices. Excellent. Really simple. This is, again, one of those recipes where we can just kind of chop and add to the pot, which I love, because then before we know it, it is finished. Comes together very quickly. You can make this ahead. Soup is one of those things that pretty much no matter what it is, it's going to taste better the next day. Makes for great leftovers. Nice slice. I hear my onion sizzling away in there. And a nice thin slice on that carrot as well. Excellent. Slice this guy. And one more. So once you have these sliced, you can go ahead and add them to the pot. Give it a little shimmy shake or a stir. Okay, then grab your garlic. Get that ready. we'll just get this nice and minced, ready to go. And this is really the most chopping you're gonna do for the entire dish. So I'm just gonna get this ready to go. We're not gonna add this quite yet because I want the veggies to saute a little bit. Excellent. You can just kind of push that off to the side or corner of our cutting board. I'm gonna add in the little seasoning cup. This is really simple. It is a basic Italian seasoning blend, like the mix that you can buy in the store. We have that here, obviously. And then salt and pepper, that's it. So there's no salt in the Italian seasoning itself. It's just a bunch of dried herbs, which is lovely. So then we add the salt and the pepper. So that's going right in. And it looks like a lot with all of the vegetables. But just remember, I forgot a utensil, so that's why I'm shaking. I know it's behind me, but this is fine too. It looks like a lot, but remember that we're gonna add a lot more to this soup. So we need to make sure that we season it well, and we're just gonna season it all in one shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of these, give it a toss. We're just gonna kind of let that go. In the meantime, you can pull out your sausage if you're using. So I'm doing a half and half, meaning that I'm going to be doing half beans and half sausage. And since I'm doing a two-person, I'm getting 1 link of a sausage and then a half a cup of beans. And so this is the sausage that I'm using. I know it's backwards. This is, or maybe it's not backwards to you, I don't know. Anyway, this is Amy Lou sausage. It's a chicken sausage. It's really good. The ingredients are really basic, really simple. It's just yummy, and it's pre-cooked, which is great. They're in these little vacuum sealed individual packages. It makes it really, really nice to open. So if you want one, if you want all 4, it's fantastic. So again, these are already pre-cooked. And these do have, this is Italian with peppers and onions, so it does have peppers and onions in here. So I'm just gonna open this up and get it ready to go. And we're just gonna do, I like to do a nice thin, like kind of angled slice on this, because remember this is a soup and we wanna fit this onto a spoon. And so we don't want it too big, kind of to match the other things in the soup. Nice and thin, like when you sliced up your carrots. Excellent, I love this. You can kind of see like the fennel seeds in here, the Italian seasoning, I love that. And again, it's already cooked, which is great, so we're just gonna brown this really in the skillet and heat it through. Okay, so that's done. And then everything is sliced, everything is chopped. We don't have to do any more chopping, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and let my veggies saute a little bit longer, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so my veggies have sauteed for a few minutes and gotten nice and soft. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and add the sausage. Now, the point in this is just to brown the sausage to get a really nice flavor, to really kind of pull out all of the delicious flavors of the sausage. Again, it's already cooked, so we don't have to worry about it cooking through. We just wanna brown and we wanna heat through. So I'm just gonna add that. I kind of pushed some of my veggies off to the side a little bit to give the sausage some contact in the bottom of the pan. And so we're just gonna let that go and let the veggies continue to cook and let the sausage brown for just another few minutes, giving the sausage a little flip halfway through so that all sides can get nice and brown. Okay, so my sausage has browned and my veggies are cooked. Everything's smelling really wonderful. I just took the kale out to have it ready. So from this point on, we're gonna go ahead and add the garlic, and we're just gonna cook this down for 30, 45 seconds. So it's gonna continue to cook within the soup, but we just wanna heat it through and get it smelling really good and all the other flavors infused with that garlic flavor. Excellent. So the last couple things that we're gonna add to this, we are going to add some vinegar. So this is kind of my secret, not so secret ingredient when I'm making soup. Soup is delicious, but it can be very bland, right? So a lot of times when we season soup, we just reach for the salt, when in fact we should be reaching for an acid. And that's why I choose to use vinegar in my soups, and a lot of people think that's very strange and they won't add it, but I implore you to please, please, please add the vinegar. Don't leave it off to the side. This is what makes it taste really good, and it's kind of that missing piece. So when you're tasting something and you're just kind of missing something, it kind of lays flat on your tongue after you swallow and it doesn't really do anything, we're missing an acid. And so my favorite to use is red wine vinegar. I really like this white balsamic vinegar. It is kind of fruity and a tad bit sweet. So I'm actually doing a mix. That's why it's light pink, because we have red wine vinegar and white balsamic vinegar in here. And the white balsamic just plays off really nicely with the acidity of the tomatoes. And it just kind of brings out the tomato's natural sweetness that we're going to be adding in here. So, okay, garlic has cooked down. I'm going to crank up the heat a little bit, because we're working here to kind of deglaze the pan with this vinegar as well, meaning that we're going to pull up any brown bits off the bottom of the pan, make them come into our soup so that it tastes really, really good, because that's where all the flavor comes from, those little brown bits. And we're going to cook down this vinegar a little bit too, so it's not going to be as pungent. Okay, so cranked up the heat just a tad. You hear that nice sizzle right away as it hits. That's what we want. Don't put your nose too close, because sometimes it can be a little much when that vinegar hits the pan, gets into your nose. So kind of give everything a stir. Again, there's not a ton, so there shouldn't be too much liquid in here. We're just gonna let that cook off for about another 30 seconds. And we're gonna kind of, again, let that excess water kind of lift out of the pan as steam. Let the veggies and everything kind of absorb the rest of that vinegar so that we have that beautiful flavor in our soup. Okay, so I'm actually gonna leave the heat where it is, because we're gonna wanna bring this to a boil here very soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my beans. Again, I'm doing half and half. So we're gonna add the beans. You're gonna add the whole can or 2 cans of diced tomatoes if you have a 4-person, juice and all. Every little last bit. Okay, and then we're gonna add our broth paste. So this, I love this. This is also a really good thing. One of my favorite things for a good soup. So with a good soup, you need a good broth or a good stock. I love this stuff. It is better than bouillon. They have veggie, they also have chicken and beef and mushroom. It's so good, and it's great because it lasts. It comes in a little jar, and it's 1 teaspoon per cup per 8 ounces of fluid of water. So we have 2 teaspoons in here for 2 cups of water. So I'm gonna scrape that out. I like to use a little butter knife to make sure that I get all the good stuff. And then we're gonna add in our water. So this is what you'll need to be providing, is 2 cups of just regular old water. And then we're gonna give that a stir. We're gonna bring this up to a boil. So this is what our soup looks like at this point. We're gonna bring this up to a boil and then reduce to a simmer. And then we're gonna go ahead and let this simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. Set your timer as soon as you reduce to a simmer. Don't start your timer now because it hasn't reached that point yet, okay? So again, bring it to a nice big bubble, reduce it down so that we just have a nice gentle simmer going, and then start your timer. Really optimal time is the longer the better, but I understand that some of us need to get food on the table fast. So if you only have 10 minutes, that's fine. If you can go up to the 15 or even 20 minutes, do that. And I will meet you back here when it's all done. Okay, we have been simmering for like 15 minutes. In the last 5 minutes or so, I went ahead and put in the kale. Just take out any large stems if there are any in there, and just let that kind of wilt in there. So now I've completely turned off the heat, and I'm going to slice this guy in half. I'm gonna save 2 little wedges for serving, and then I'm gonna do the rest, right in the pot, just for a little hit of fresh flavor right before serving. Don't forget you have your Parmesan cheese that you can sprinkle in the whole thing and let it melt, or you can put on the individual, in the individual soup bowls if you want to. If you have any of the baguette bread, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you warm that through. It tastes so much better that way. So this is what our soup looks like. We are chock full of good stuff. It smells so stinking good. Lots of veggies, nice lean protein. Yeah, it's a winner. It is so great. Again, it's better the next day. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys stay nice and warm. And if you're not eating this, I hope you're eating something as equally as delicious. I'll see you guys next time.